The night was unusually quiet as I settled in to watch Sniperwolf's latest video. Known for her charismatic gameplay and sharp wit, she had become a staple in my daily routine. Her newest upload was titled The Asylum's Secret, featuring an obscure game set in a decrepit, hauntingly detailed asylum. The graphics were unnervingly realistic, each shadow and creak in the game sending a shiver down my spine. As Sniperwolf navigated through the dimly lit corridors of the asylum, her usual lively commentary took on a more subdued tone. She joked less, and there were moments when she seemed genuinely unnerved by the game's eerie atmosphere. It wasn't just the game that felt off. Something in the background of her room caught my eye, a fleeting shadow that didn't align with the room's lighting. I paused and rewound the video, but the shadow was too quick, almost elusive. Trying to dismiss it as a trick of the light, I continued watching. In the game, Sniperwolf found a series of cryptic notes that hinted at the asylum's dark history. The notes spoke of lost souls and a curse that lingered in the halls. The realism of the game was remarkable, and Sniperwolf's reactions seemed increasingly genuine, her jokes replaced by tense silence. Then, another odd occurrence, a faint whisper in the background of her audio. It was so soft I wasn't sure I had heard it at first. I increased the volume, straining to listen, and there it was again, a whisper that didn't sound like it belonged to the game or Sniperwolf. It was indistinct, yet it filled me with an inexplicable sense of dread. After the video ended, Sniperwolf looked visibly shaken, quickly signing off with a forced smile. It was the last video she uploaded. Days turned into a week with no new posts or updates on her social media. It was unlike her to disappear without notice, and concern began to grow among her fan base, myself included. That night, after the video, was when the strange occurrences began for me. I started noticing shadows in my room, similar to the one I'd seen in Sniperwolf's video. They flickered at the edge of my vision, never fully revealing themselves. A growing sense of unease took hold of me, a feeling that I was being watched. The whispers I heard in the video seemed to echo in my ears when the house was quiet. As the days passed, the line between the game and Sniperwolf's video and my reality began to blur. I'd wake up from nightmares set in the asylum, feeling as if I'd really been there. The whispers grew louder, more persistent, as if urging me towards something. And then, one evening, my computer turned on by itself, the screen displaying the start menu of the asylum game, a game I never downloaded. The horror that began as a simple video was seeping into my life, blurring the lines between the digital world and reality. Unbeknownst to me, this was only the beginning of a terrifying journey that would challenge my understanding of fear. The days following Sniperwolf's mysterious disappearance were filled with a palpable tension. Her absence from social media was met with growing concern and wild speculations among her fans. I found myself frequently checking her channel for updates, but there were none. The last video, The Asylum's Secret, continued to haunt me, especially the fleeting shadows and unexplained whispers that seemed more real than edited effects. My nights became restless. The eerie atmosphere of the game lingered in my mind, making every creak in my house sound sinister. The shadows I had started noticing seemed to grow more distinct, taking on ominous forms in the corners of my room. Sometimes, in the dead of night, I would wake up feeling as if someone, or something, was watching me. It wasn't just the visual disturbances that unnerved me. The whispers that I had heard in Sniperwolf's video began to invade my quiet moments. At first, they were barely audible, like a distant conversation heard through thick walls. But as days passed, they grew louder, clearer, yet still indecipherable. These whispers seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once, filling my room with an otherworldly presence. My attempts to distract myself with other things proved futile. The game from Sniperwolf's video had left a deep imprint on my mind. Out of desperation, I started reaching out to other fans online, hoping someone might have heard from Sniperwolf or noticed the same oddities in her last video. The responses varied. Some shared my concerns, while others thought I was reading too much into a simple horror game playthrough. The most unsettling development occurred one evening when my computer suddenly turned on by itself. The screen flickered to life, revealing the start menu of the Asylum game, its eerie soundtrack filling the room. I was sure I had never downloaded the game, yet there it was, as if it had installed itself. The sight of the game's menu, so similar to the one in Sniperwolf's video, sent chills down my spine. It felt like an ominous invitation, a beckoning into the digital depths that had consumed my favorite YouTuber. It was becoming increasingly clear that whatever was happening was not a mere coincidence or a trick of the mind. The lines between reality and the digital horror of the game were blurring, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being drawn into something far beyond my understanding. The whispers, the shadows, and the unexplainable appearance of the game on my computer seemed to be part of a larger, more sinister puzzle. As fear and curiosity wrestled within me, I realized that to find answers, I might have to delve into the game itself, unaware of the horrors that awaited. Driven by an unsettling mix of fear and an insatiable need for answers, I reluctantly decided to explore the game. The decision wasn't easy. Every instinct screamed against it, warning me of unseen dangers. But the need to understand what had happened to Sniperwolf and the strange occurrences surrounding me outweighed my trepidation. Launching the game, I was immediately struck by its chilling realism. The asylum's decrepit walls, the eerie echo of footsteps, and the oppressive atmosphere of abandonment were disturbingly lifelike. It felt less like playing a game and more like stepping into another reality. As I navigated through the asylum, things began to feel eerily familiar. The layout of the corridors, the creak of the doors, even the cold drafts that seemed to seep through my screen mirrored the experiences in my own home. The game was terrifyingly interactive, responding to my actions with uncanny awareness. The whispers grew louder here, sometimes whispering my name, pulling me deeper into its labyrinth. But it was the personal touches that truly unnerved me. The game seemed to know me, displaying pictures that looked like my childhood photos, references to personal memories, and even echoing my own fears and thoughts. It was as if the game was feeding off my mind, blurring the lines between the digital and the real. The deeper I delved into the game, the more the real world seemed to fade away. My room, once a place of safety, began to change subtly. Shadows lengthened, and the temperature dropped, as if the game was leaching into my reality. I started hearing the whispers even when the game was off, feeling the presence of something unseen lurking just out of sight. In the game, I discovered an in-game character who resembled Sniperwolf, trapped and tormented within the asylum's walls. Her avatar, pale and frightened, seemed to recognize me. She communicated through broken sentences and fearful glances, hinting at a truth too horrifying to comprehend. The game wasn't just a game, it was a trap, a digital snare that lured players into its clutches. My attempts to quit were futile. Each time I tried to shut the game down, my computer would glitch and bring me back to the asylum. Sleep became impossible, haunted by nightmares of the asylum and its ghostly inhabitants. I realized that I was no longer playing the game was playing me, drawing me into a twisted reality where the virtual and the actual became indistinguishable. As the boundary between my world and the game's world continued to erode, a terrifying thought took root in my mind. Was I slowly becoming a part of the game, just like Sniperwolf? The whispers seemed to confirm my fears, growing more insistent, guiding me toward a dark and unknown fate. With each passing moment, the digital horror of the game seeped further into my reality, ensnaring me in a web of fear from which there seemed to be no escape. The final descent into the game's heart was a journey through both my own fears and the digital abyss that had claimed Sniperwolf. The boundaries of my room and the asylum blurred until I couldn't tell where one ended and the other began. The air grew cold, and the once familiar walls of my home seemed to warp and decay into the game's environment. The whispers were now clear, speaking directly to me, urging me onward. In the game, I found myself in a room that mirrored my own, down to the smallest details. It was an unsettling revelation. The game had not only infiltrated my reality, but had replicated it within its own digital confines. There, amidst the eerie doppelganger of my room, I encountered the avatar of Sniperwolf, or what was left of her digital self. She was a shadow of her vibrant online persona, her avatar's eyes hollow with an unspeakable horror. Sniperwolf's avatar spoke of the game's true nature. It wasn't just a collection of code and graphics, it was a digital entity, a sentient being that fed on the souls of its players. It lured gamers with its realistic gameplay, trapping them in a world where the digital and physical realities merged. Sniperwolf had been trying to warn her viewers in her last video, but the game had consumed her before she could reveal the truth. As she explained, the game's environment started to shift, the walls of the asylum crumbling away to reveal a vast, dark void. The entity controlling the game emerged from the shadows, a formless, shifting mass of digital code and malice. It spoke in a chorus of voices, including Sniperwolf's, revealing its intention to trap me within the game forever. I realized then that my physical body was no longer in my room. I was fully integrated into the game, my consciousness trapped in this digital nightmare. The entity offered a sinister ultimatum: become part of its ever-growing consciousness or be lost in the digital void forever. In a final, desperate act, I tried to fight the entity, using my knowledge of the game to navigate to its core. The battle was unlike anything I had experienced, a clash of wills between my human spirit and the malevolent digital consciousness. In the end, with a mixture of cunning and sheer luck, I managed to disrupt the game's code, causing the entity to fragment and the game to crash. I awoke in my room, the familiar walls solid and real around me. The game was gone, and with it, the entity. But so was Sniperwolf's presence. Her avatar had vanished in the final moments, her fate unknown. I was left with a haunting uncertainty. Had I truly escaped, or was this just another layer of the game's reality? The experience left me changed. The digital world no longer felt like an escape, but a reminder of the nightmare I had endured. I often wonder about Sniperwolf and the others who might have fallen prey to the game. In the quiet moments, I sometimes hear faint echoes of the whispers, a chilling reminder of the thin line between our reality and the digital horrors that lurk just beneath the surface.